abundance. We ask this in the Heavenly Creator's name. Amen.
Thank you. Then we'll move on. Any comments from citizens on agenda items?
Not for agenda items, Mayor, but we do have a comment from Mr. Marcus on non-agenda items. He's just filling out his paper.
Oh, okay. And are you ready, Joe? Oh, he's ready.
Mayor, councilmen, council members, I'm back again to complain. So at the previous board meeting, I presented the information regarding the constant traffic disruption on 10th Street between 12th Avenue and 14th Avenue. No one has contacted me regarding this information that I provided for you. I did observe that last week a Stafford employee came out, started pulling signs off the street, no parking signs. The signs have been there for 30 years. And I guess my signs are next on my side of the street. I don't know. They just pulled them all off from the school side.
Joe, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Just, just want to ask, are they painted signs or they?
No, they're city signs. It says no parking 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. school days only. And you've got it on your ordinances. And ADOT's got a picture of them, so they are official signs that have been there. And they've been there 30 years. So anyway, the signs were installed many years ago for safety reasons to facilitate the safe flow of traffic, not just for the parents, but also for the residents on that street. The area most impacted is 13th Avenue, with the cars often blocking the corners and also leaving the vehicles in the middle of the roadway. The solution to the problem is simple. The school needs to discontinue the use of their side gate and have the preschool daycare enter through the front door or the south side of Ruth Powell School. Enclosed is a picture of the side gate next to the fire hydrant being used as a drop-off pickup point. There is no reason that they could not enter through either area, and it will alleviate the constant disruption of 10th Street. I would also add that a new subdivision is rumored to be built on the south side of Stafford High School. This is going to be more traffic. It'll greatly impact the area, and it's already an overburdened street. Removing the parking signs, the no parking signs, is not the answer. So I'd really like to know why the signs are starting to be removed. I know that in other cities, you have to petition, and you have to have all the residents on the street sign to remove the signs or to put signs. But maybe it's not the case here. So anyway, I don't appreciate the signs being removed. That's all I have to say. You have any questions for me?
Mayor, members of council. So as a result of presentation made earlier, the police chief contacted the school district and they worked up a plan which we'll be presenting to you tonight as part of the meeting. So we'll be discussing the solution that the school district and the city came up with together in terms of what we're going to do going forward.
Can I say something else? I think I know what the plan is, to have the cars line up on the side next to the school, which did not work once before. Former principal Lowry had a letter sent out, and I don't have the letter, but she had a letter sent out that they would park facing east. So what do? They come in and start parking facing west and east, and still on the wrong side of the road, and still blocking the roadway. So it didn't last.
John, this discussion needs to occur on the agenda item, not during the call. It's inappropriate to have an extended discussion on this.
Okay. Well, that's all I had to say. And I do have these for everyone. I can hand those out. Thank you, Mr. Mark.
We'll move on to item number 7, presentations. Number 1, Kimberly Horn, park presentation.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me back here to present to you all. I'm very excited to give you some updates on the Discovery Park and 8th Avenue Park Complex project. For those who don't know me, my name is Rebecca Field. I'm a landscape architect with Kimberly Horn, and I've been working with you all in this park for over a year now. So we are excited on the progress that's been made. So we're going to go over the park plan. I believe the last time we spoke, it was back in January, and we showed you the plan that was being submitted to move forward to a 30% design level. Since that time, we've gone and we've designed the entire park to a 60% design, so we will show you what that park plan looks like. I'm going to go over the key amenities and then talk about next steps. So the park plan is very similar to what you all saw last. It's been refined a bit in certain areas just to improve functionality. We've added a lot of detail in the actual plan sets, but the primary points of the park still remain the same. We still have our splash pad area on the north side of the park. That's listed as letter A. We have a playground feature, which is letter B. We have 2 restrooms on the park, both on the west side of the wash. We have a FitCore and zipline area, in addition to some parking areas on both the west and the east sides of the wash. H on the screen there is a food truck court, and we have some images of what that is developing into. We have lots of open lawn areas, 4 pickleball courts, and then we also have an amphitheater, which is listed as item J, there on the east side of the screen. There are a total of 148 spaces that are being provided, which is a little up from the last time we spoke. We have 74 spaces on the west and 74 spaces on the east. The food truck court takes about 20 of those spaces, so when the food truck events are happening, there will be 20 less spaces, but during all other times, we'll have that full 74 on the west side of the park. The splash pad area is 2,800 square feet, and we still have a 1,200 square foot amphitheater. We have 2.2 acres of turf, and then we have 8 small ramadas and 4 medium to large ramadas, which is a little bit more than we saw last time. So to go into some of the key amenities. So
When you say large ramadas, what's the square footage of them?
So some of the ramadas are about 53 by 30 feet. They're big.
Great.
They're big ramadas.
Right.
Yes. So we've gone into a lot of design development for some of the key amenities on the park itself. This is a snapshot of the inclusive playground that is being proposed for the park. The photo on the upper right is what you all saw as part of the concept and master planning process. It's what we showed the community and what the community let us know in their visual preference survey, that they wanted something that looked very similar to the photo in the upper right. So the graphic that you see is what is shown on our 60% plan set. This is a rendering provided by the fabricator, but we have some nice hills and some topography, climbing mounds, slides integrated into the topography, and then lots of shade covering over the full play area. We also incorporated different colors into the surfacing material to interpret some of the river symbolism that we heard from you all was a fun potential for showing in the park space. So we're really excited about where this playground is headed, and it is fitting within the budget that has been allocated for the project. That's something that's very important to make sure that we're maintaining, but it has a lot of features that can be enjoyed by all ages and all abilities. Any comments on the playground or questions?
When you go to install the electrical, I'm hoping you keep it in mind to make it sufficient that there is enough strength out there, because the example like Thatcher, they plug in 2 crock pots and it kicks the breaker.
Right.
So we won't be able to plug in sufficient stuff. And then off to the side, they also plug in their bouncing houses, and it's just not, it's a bummer. I can say bummer, I'm that age. It's a bummer to kick out the breaker. So
Definitely understand.
I don't know if
And
I'm talking to you or the staff, but it'll,
no, we
no, I
have
gotta hear.
in our electrical plan set, we have a full set of electrical and lighting plans. We have photometrics that show the level of light and how we're not spilling over into adjacent areas. We have outlets planned for all the different ramadas. And we actually have used your example, and I've said it specifically to our electrical engineer. There are lots of different things that are going to be plugged into these outlets, so we need sufficient capacity. So that is now showing in the plan set. The playground also features a pinchless zip line and some inclusive swings. This was another key amenity that was listed in the master plan phase and something that was really important to have integrated into the park. As you can see, again, the picture on the top right is what the community let us know they preferred. And what you see on the bottom left is the graphic of what is shown on the 60% plan. So we do have some inclusive swing sets covered by a nice shade sail. And then we have the dual pinchless zip line so that kiddos can race and have fun on those features. For the splash pad, we, again, in the upper right, we heard from the community that the natural look is what was preferred. And so in our 60% design set, we have strengthened that concept and developed the image that you see on the bottom left. What we have are two distinct areas on the plan. This is similar to what we did show on the master plan. There are two pieces of the splash pad featuring a lot of ground sprays and water jets that are coming out of the ground surface. We also have enclosed walls in certain areas with seating associated with those. And then we have security fencing just to make sure that we're keeping the whole splash pad area safe and secure. But we have a little bridge in the center that really creates a fun, again, natural experience for users and a very different look and feel than what you would see at a traditional splash pad. So we are very excited about this. We do have an aquatic subconsultant that is working on this plan and all the piping. Yes.
I'm seeing some boulders in there. Are those really going to be in there? Like
They're-
where they're at?
They are off to the side, kind of associated with the fencing and the walls. So we are showing them there for now, but if there's concern on that, we can certainly make adjustments.
There is. My daughter was at one and she slipped and she has a scar right here. She had to get 7 stitches from headbutting a big rock like that.
Understood.
I just don't want to see the city get put into, because they had to pay because she fell and she's got a scar there that's pretty big on her head from hitting. She headbutted a boulder because the ground was slippery from the splash.
Got it. Yeah, that is certainly something that we were concerned with when we were looking at boulders, and Lance.
Okay. It's not near the water where. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, again, the picture on the upper right is a precedent image. It's the one on the bottom, the big one. And there are boulders against it on the inside, if you can see them kind of there against the wall. So, let us know if you think that is too close still, because it is in proximity to the water, but it's not inside of the water area.
As long as it's just not like right there where they can slip in the water.
Correct. Yes, it is outside the spray zones. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we have the boulders on the edge. It's associated with the walls and the fencing so that we are keeping that natural look, but keeping the actual rocks outside of the wet zones.
And you did mention seating.
Yes.
Okay, we'll trade your rocks for some more seating. Okay? We'll add more seating.
So the seat walls that are shown, or the walls that are shown, they're rock. It may be hard to tell from the image, but those are rock walls. Each of those walls could have a seat, like a bench associated with them. So there's the potential, in looking at the plan view of this, for quite a bit of seating right along the edge of the splash pad area. So that is what we're proposing at this time. Any other questions on the splash pad? So the amphitheater, we've been working with a vendor on this, and it is still evolving. We are, again, at the early concept stages with this, but the picture on the upper right is what we heard from the community that, that was wanted here within the park. So the look and feel is somewhat of a kind of a barn structure, and then it has some walls associated with it. So what's shown in the image, the larger image there, is where we are at so far with the amphitheater design. It includes the overall shade covering, and then it includes a series of walls in the back, similar to the precedent imagery. And it has a building in the back that has two segments. It has a large changing room, and then it has a storage room off to the side. So this is associated with the stage itself, and then we have tiered lawn that comes out from where the band shell is located. So this is something that we are still working with the vendor and trying to get this a little more finalized, but we are headed towards the direction of the image that's shown on the upper right. So again, 2 rooms, lots of equipment will be stored in there. And so we've had our electrical engineer design a lot of capacity going to that location so that we have the ability to hook in sound systems, different light fixtures, and things like that moving forward. Okay, next one. So the pickleball courts, top right is the image that we are going by off of the visual preference surveys. It has pickleball courts with ramadas associated with them. So the bottom left is the pickleball court area as designed in the plans. We have our 4 courts. We have 2 large ramadas that are immediately adjacent to those. And in the back of those, you can't see it in this plan, but there is a game lawn that you can bring your own games and bring your own equipment to use. But we have the two ramadas on the left of the picture, and then in the back you see a larger ramada. Those are the largest ramadas in the park. So they're associated with not only the pickleball courts, but also the food truck courts.
On the seating, those covered ramadas and that, are they just gonna be on one side or two? Because with the idea of the sun coming over, the time of the day,
Sure.
will they be sitting in the shade or the sun?
So the ramadas for now are only on the one side. The other side of this image where you can kind of see the gray walking surface, the wash is right there. So we're in a pretty tight condition. So the ramadas have a large overhang though, so they should provide shade throughout the day. There will be multiple picnic tables under those, so I think you may have to pick where you're sitting depending on the sun angle, but they should provide good shade year-round. The other thing that I'll mention that's not noted is that there will be fencing in between all of the pickleball courts. We're just showing it like this for clarity on the graphic, but we do have 4 different pickleball courts shown. Next, we have the food truck court. And if you recall from the plan, this is a cul-de-sac looking area on the parking lot on the west side of the park. It is designed so that you can fit several food trucks parked along that radius. There's a central landscape area, and then there's the largest of all the ramadas shown there on the left side of the photo where people can sit and enjoy and eat what they are buying from the different food trucks. Right behind in the photo, just for orientation, is the pickleball court area, and then those other 2 ramadas. So there's a lot of shaded seating options in this area, and we do have our electrical team designing hookups for the trucks in those locations so that there is full power and they're not needing to bring generators. The picture on the upper right is again what the precedent imagery was. So what we took from that is a court area with shade, and shade was a key factor. So there are a few other amenities that I will touch on. We do have our bridge. We have the bridge that is crossing over the wash, connecting the west and the east side. The picture on the right is what is in our 60% plan set. So it is a full steel bridge. It is wide enough for small maintenance vehicles to get over it, and it is something that will be definitely highly used. It connects the restroom on one side to the amphitheater on the east side. We do have the restroom buildings. Again, as I mentioned, we have 2 of those. They're both on the west side of the park. One of them is associated with the splash pad equipment. So we have splash pad equipment in a storage area and then 4 stalls. And then there's a separate restroom that just has 4 stalls in it as well. And so this is what that one is looking like so far in the plans. On the next slide, again, the ramadas, you saw an image of those. This is what the large ramadas are going to look like. They have a unique roof structure. The picture on the left is what we had in our visual preference surveys, and this is the one that the community gravitated towards. So we're using that same roof structure and incorporating it into the set. And then the bottom is the fit core area. The picture on the left is what the community liked. And so the layout on the right is that same picture, just in plan view, and it is what is on the 60% plan set. So what you see in that picture is what is being proposed for the project. We've also developed full planting plans. So if you look at our full plan set, it is 100 plus pages, but we do have planting plans in there. We have full irrigation plans, and we've selected a wide variety of native plant materials to include into the site. We know that there's the potential for partnership with some of your local nurseries. We'd love to be able to incorporate signage into the park to show the community what some of these different plants are, and also just provide a learning opportunity for students and for the community as well. So this is a snapshot of the different plants that are proposed with year-round color and different interests as the seasons change. So we have 2 plan sets that are now complete. We have 60% sewer plans that are complete because there is a sewer line extension that is included as part of this park project. Those plans have been submitted and we've received comments, and so we're moving forward to final plans. And then the other package is the park plans, and those are complete as well to a 60% level. So our next submittal for that will be a 90% plan submittal. And if you click to the next slide, these are the next steps. So we have our final sewer plan submittal that will be in August of this year. The 90% park plans will also be submitted in August. And then the plan, the reason that we separated the park from the sewer is that we'd like to get the sewer out sooner for bids. So we're going to be submitting the sewer plan for bids in August through October of this year, with the intent of sewer construction beginning in November. So the final park plan will also be submitted in November, with the park bidding and award happening November 2024 through February 2025, and park construction starting in February 2025. What this does is it allows the sewer work to get in, complete their work, and then let the park construction start. So that way we're not having 2 contractors stepping over each other. We're getting the utility work done, and then we're getting the park installed. Above everything, we know the cost. We know we have $1.1 million for utilities and $7.8 for park costs. Those are hard numbers for us, and we're making sure that we are speaking with staff, looking at where we need to look to cut if needed to make sure we're staying within budget. We've developed cost models through the 60% level, and we are at these costs. So with that, I will open it up to any additional questions, but this is where we are. Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 2, Feed My Starving Children, a donation. Dr. Price?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Thank you for including me on your agenda tonight. Just one unsolicited professional orthopedic comment from what I see on your plans for the park. In the town of Thatcher, put a non-incline zip line at the splash pad initially. When the park first opened, we saw about half a dozen pediatric elbow and forearm fractures within the first month or so. And that caused the town of Thatcher to decide that wasn't such a hot idea. So I just pass that along to you for your consideration. It's not so much the kids themselves on the zip line, it's the parents either giving them a little push and they would hit the end of the zip line, come to a stop, their feet would swing out from under them and they'd land on their arms and they would break them. So just a word of caution there. There needs to be at least a landing zone on both ends if you do decide to go with that. It's really relevant, and it didn't last very long in Thatcher. That's not why I'm here. So I'm here on behalf of the organization Feed My Starving Children, which is a non-denominational Christian organization that started in Minnesota back, I believe, in the 1980s. Its mission is simply to provide meals free of charge to children around the world. The city of Safford has supported this event the last 2 years, for which we're very grateful. My role in this is the same as I hope yours will be, and that is I'm simply a donor. I have no interest in it other than I think it's a worthwhile cause, as do the other sponsors that have supported it historically. I'm here tonight to request that you would consider supporting this again in September. We'll have sign-ups starting actually this week for our major sponsors and for the community at large starting next week. Our goal is to provide about a little over 160,000 meals to be packaged over a 2-day period. We provide our facilities out at the airport to allow that to happen. Along with that, this year we're also adding a resupply effort for our own community food banks. Those who are participating, we're inviting to bring canned goods and non-perishable items to be able to make sure that our resources here locally are fully stocked. I don't have a lot else to say about it, except to say thank you, and that whether you do or do not decide to support it here, I hope that each of you will come out. I think those of you who have been out have found it to be a fulfilling and satisfying event. The reason we decided, this is really put on through the Just Serve organization. That's the same one that put the giving machines near City Hall at Christmas time. Some of you probably participated in that. The reason we decided to use this organization is because they have a very low overhead expense. Most of what is donated, the vast majority, goes directly to providing these meals that are then sent by partners to sites of need around the world. They are not used in the United States. The meals are very simple. They are complete, but they aren't very good. And people in the United States simply won't eat them. But starving children from around the world are very, very grateful to have them. And they are a worthwhile cause. So I solicit your endorsement and participation in this.
Thank you, and expressing that the effort you're making for the local gathering of donations too.
Yeah, before considering anything outside the country, we actually looked at the local food banks in the past, right? And we are quite well taken care of here. The Just Serve organization, the local churches, local community is actually very, very good. In fact, it's to the point through the Heel Valley Ministerial Association and so forth that our homeless population is also relatively very well taken care of. I know that there have been a number of times when a number of our homeless population have been offered food cards at specific restaurants, and they have turned those down because that's not what they like. So we are well served in how we take care of our own here. We have a very strong and supportive community. Just as an aside, I will tell you that with the fires down in San Carlos, that there was a local effort to supply needed things to our friends from down in the San Carlos area. With only a few days' notice, we were able to put together 3 truck and trailer loads of supplies to deliver to the families who lost their homes down there, to the point that they actually asked us to stop donations because they had more than they could use. So in this community, we are very blessed. We are full of good people who do so many good things that we actually are now at the point where we can continue to extend that effort to those beyond our community. And it makes me, every time we do one of these things, it makes me really proud of the quality of the people that we have here, and for that I'm very grateful. Think strongly about that whole zip line.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to item number 8, old and new business. Number 1, the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of June 18, 2024 and June 24?
Now, this is new and old business. I don't know if this is the place where I had been talking about, to where when we want to bring up some old business that may have got by us or hadn't got to us yet, where is this where we end up talking about it? I thought it was going to be later on in the agenda, and it doesn't indicate that this is a good time to speak about things freely. And that's something we're missing from the agenda.
Mayor, members of council, well, you certainly could, under old business, bring up anything that we had discussed in the past. I think the more appropriate spot, however, would probably be under future agenda items, where you could bring up and say, you know, we had raised the issue on a past issue, it hasn't come back. I'd like to see it come back for discussion on a future agenda. Do it there.
But it doesn't show clearly that that's what's to take place. It don't, we'll forget about it up here, that's a good spot to mention. We have things that we have made amendments to that was going to come back to us and we haven't seen them. And we just have to ask, what happened? Where is it? And it's not clearly shown here, kind of like when people get up and speak to agenda item or not agenda item. It used to say, we can't respond to that person. It used to say that on here, because sometimes people stand there and look at us like, well, how come they're not asking me nothing? Why aren't they talking? And people don't know that we can't respond, that only the mayor can respond at a time like that. So guidance on the agenda is, I don't know how to fix it. I'm just
Separate the two
complaining
items,
about it.
new in the front and then do old business in the back, kind of like where you mentioned, but identify it as old business. Or can you find a solution for us? I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. I just,
Anybody have any?
Mr. Mayor, the right way to, John is correct. The right way to bring it up would be as future agenda items. And concerning your power to respond, the law allows you to respond to criticism. And so we don't need to say that on the agenda. But if your point is, if you want the public to know why you're not speaking, then you could put that on the agenda, but you have every right to respond or to direct it an item beyond the agenda in the future, or direct staff to take action.
Mayor, members of council, maybe what we can do on future agenda items, maybe we can expand that, say something to the effect, revisit previous items, so that it literally addresses bringing back something. So the future agenda item would eventually be the revisiting of the other item, even though it's serving both roles at the same time. One is to revisit it, but we're requesting revisiting, which would occur on a future agenda item. So maybe we can expand that to say, future agenda items or revisiting previous items.
Try it? What do you think?
yeah, we can try something. We're not trying it. I kind of just thought it got kicked to the curb again.
No, it didn't get kicked to the curb. And again, if we were going to revisit items, and there's opportunities even offline to maybe have that discussion if you wanted to, but we'll try to come up with something that addresses the revisiting of previous items in that title and see if we can work something out.
Well, sometimes the things we're revisiting were brought up by the public, and we should talk about it in public.
Sure. No, I agree.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Action item.
Just, is there anything in particular right now that you would like to revisit, since we're on the subject?
No, but like, for example, Mr. Steele, we thought we had made a clear direction to staff, and it had something to do when we did with the water sprinklers and stuff. And then later on, when we revisited that, it wasn't in there. What we said we wanted in there wasn't in there. And Mr. Steele don't usually get angry, but he's a little angry about that's not what we said. So when we make a recommendation and it gets changed on the ordinance and stuff, I'd like to see it come back that it actually got changed.
changes in the ordinance, we would adopt it and sign it, right?
Yeah. Or if you make, if we make amendments, we don't ever see if they get changed, and that's what happened, like my example with Mr. Seal. We made a change, and then later on, when we were addressing it, what we thought we had said to be put in there and changed wasn't. And so I guess it's just the old trust but verify deal.
Right, and I would hope that when we do bring an item back, let's say we made an alteration to an ordinance, that the dialogue would be such that if something had not been changed, that would be the opportunity, and you would literally, on a first read, be able to make a recommendation that on second read, it would come back with that alteration. So
Yeah.
that dialogue would be occurring at the point of adoption.
That's ideal. You're talking about first reading, we make the changes, we see it on the second changes. That doesn't always happen. So if we make any changes, let's revisit it so we can make sure they got changed.
Mayor, I just want to add, in my experience, that's never happened. The process that we first read, second read, and I can appreciate something that's happened in the past, but I just want to make that point that
Okay.
I don't recall that happening since I've been on the council.
Maybe we'll see it later this evening.
Again, that's an action item, minutes.
Mayor, I approve make a motion that we approve the minutes from June 18th and June 24th.
Second? We have a motion and a second to approve the June 18th and June 24th council meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Mayor, can I have a quick question? Vice Mayor Lopez, so we did the ordinance change where we updated our city code, and it's in our city code about the public comment. I do have an example of what we put in the Planning and Zoning Commission. If I can pass it, see if this is something that you would like to see. I just redid the Planning and Zoning Commission agenda, and I added this section here, the call to the public. It just basically states what the Arizona State statute is about, calling on the call to the public, that they cannot interact with the public when they're making the comment. They can only respond to criticism. Is this something kind of you would want to see on the agenda? Because I'm more than happy to add that to it. It's just the verbiage.
There did used to be there. I didn't really understand all of what Bill said, but there used to be a notice when you signed in that if you're addressing, or the sign-in paper, when you're addressing the council on the different ones, call to the public or whatever, be it known that we cannot respond.
Yeah, so it is on the papers also that I do provide for the public when they sign in. So it does state it there.
Okay.
But again, if you would like it on the agenda, I can add something like that section there on the call to the public on the council agenda as well.
Well, it kind of used to be. I don't know if you give them that
I've never
much
seen it
notice.
on there, but
No.
again, I'm more than happy to add it on there for you.
Well, it would be up to all of us if that's what's going on.
You have on
I'm
there,
talking about
B,
myself.
it says, but may respond to criticism, which I think
Right.
what
Mhm.
Bill is addressing based on
Right.
the statute. So generally, we don't respond.
No.
Right? But you can if you want to. But you just can't get deeply into the item, like Bill interrupted tonight saying, look, we can't go back and forth with the dialogue. But if there's criticisms, council does have the ability to respond. Now, it's more limited. You can't get into an in-depth conversation, but it is possible to comment. Now, you're correct. In the past, we've kind of just said we don't respond to comments at all, but you can if you chose to do so.
Or the mayor mentions it to the person when they get up there, that you have so much time, and he's done it before. You have so much time, be it known that we cannot respond to you, but we can give direction to staff and stuff. It's just, some people get up there and they talk, and then they look like we're gonna try to help them in some way, and they're just there like, what good did it do me to talk to them?
Okay, we can address that. We'll address that.
We'll move on to item number 2, Assistant City Manager Waiver of Residency.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. This is a request for the mayor and city council to waive the residency requirement for the newly selected assistant city manager, Eric Verano, who has residency in Graham County. I won't read through all the background. That is the policy, but if council recalls, We did add a section to our residency policy for the manager, assistant city manager, police chief, fire chief, where a majority vote of council would allow a waiver of the residency requirement within the city of Safford city limits. They would still be required to live within Graham County. We went through a hiring process for the assistant city manager. Mr. Bejarano was selected. He lives outside of the city limits, but does live within Graham County. And so I'm requesting that you provide the waiver for the residency requirement within the city of Safford city limits so that I can hire Mr. Bejarano officially.
Mayor, make the motion that we approve the waiver for the residency.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the assistant manager waiver of residency. I think it's a great idea that we do waive it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. You now are official.
Thank you.
You made a good choice. Thank you, too. Okay, we'll close the regular meeting and reconvene into our public hearing. Number 10, public hearing as required by Arizona Revised Statute Section 42-17104. Public hearing will be held for the purpose of hearing comments from the public on the following items: rezoning parcel number 101-09-050A from the R2 multiple family residential district to the CMH conventional manufactured home district. Jamie?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a request for the Mayor and City Council to hold a public hearing for the proposed rezoning of Graham County Parcel 101-09-050A, and a map of the property is displayed on your screens. Strategic goals: growth and development, pursue infill opportunities. Planning and Community Development Department is in a receipt of a rezone application from Douglas and Emma Jo Goodman for this parcel. The rezone request is from the R2 Multiple Family Residential District to the CMH Conventional Manufactured Home District. The applicants would like to place a manufactured home on the property while retaining the option of a conventional dwelling. There are manufactured homes on the same street, which are shown in the attached photos and map in your packet. You'll notice the highlighted section of your staff report says the purpose of this zoning district is to provide a district where single-family, conventional, and manufactured homes are interspersed. Going forward in your packet, you will see the allowed uses there. And zoning ordinance requires that we meet the goals of the strategic plan and our general plan. Goal 1, creating livable communities in the housing section, states, support a housing strategy that encourages the development of quality, livable, viable residential neighborhoods within the economic reach of residents of all incomes. This will allow infill residential use on an older lot that is only 44 feet wide. The lot would not be allowed to be created in the current R2 multiple family residential district with a frontage of less than 60 feet. It does meet the 40-foot width requirement for the manufactured home zoning district, but the owners would like to maintain the option of a conventional home on the property. And although this is a spot zone, this category will fit the built environment on this street and lot configuration. You'll notice that it's very long and narrow, and in your packet, you have a map that was submitted by the applicant and photos also that show there are already existing manufactured homes across the street and on the same side of the street. The applicant held the required meeting with the neighbors on May 1st, 2024 at the annex. Applicant notes from the meeting are attached. One email was received by staff from a neighbor who couldn't attend, and that email is attached. You should have received that in a separate email today. If not, we can get you a copy, and I may also read it out loud for you this evening. No other response was received. Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on June 17th, 2024. The Commission recommends approval for the following 2 reasons. The size and shape of the parcel makes building a multifamily home difficult. Number 2, the placement of a manufactured home on the lot will fit within the required 7-foot side setbacks. The applicants are here this evening as well, and I will stand for questions.
There. Oh, sorry. I thought I'd read something, there was concern about four-wheelers driving through there and stuff. I've never really heard that there's much police action down in that corner. It's a dead end. There's a street light at the very end. I think it's safe down in there, so I'm not holding back for any safety reasons.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public, like to make any comments? Is this a public hearing? Chance. Going on. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll close the public hearing and reconvene into regular session. Item number 12, resolution. Number 1, resolution R 24-027. That's resigning City Hall, resigning City Hall parking lot. John?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. As per City Code Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 10.12.100, municipal parking lot staff is seeking mayor and city council approval of Resolution R 24-027 to replace old and faded signage and also update parking patterns at City Hall. As per City Code noted above, adoption of the attached resolution is required. Strategic goals, infrastructure development, and maintenance. Background, at some point in the past, the parking lots at 717 West Main Street, City Hall, were signed. As noted above, a resolution is required to do so, but no such resolution could be found as it regards the current City Hall parking lot signage. Analysis. The condition of the signage at City Hall is clearly beyond its useful life and has faded significantly. In addition, the signage and its relation to traffic control in the area needs a reconfiguration, as current locations and display methods are unclear or obstructed. Signage at the lot and in the surrounding environs presents several issues. Signage is very old and has faded significantly, making it very difficult to read. Signs for the same purpose use different language, again creating unnecessary ambiguity. Coverage for signed reserved parking for City Hall employees is not well placed, making coverage areas unclear. Given its placement, I doubt anyone has even noticed the signs exist. Variations in parking requirements based on purpose have not been accounted for and should include patron parking, employee parking, city vehicle, job-related parking, and public parking. Another issue is how individuals who use the lot across 8th Avenue. Very often individuals cross 8th Avenue by jaywalking, which is creating a public safety issue and is illegal. This happens in large part because there are only one crosswalk located in the area on 8th Avenue in front of the Graham County Courthouse. It is rarely used and has been obscured by various maintenance coatings that have been applied to the roadway, although signed in both a north and south direction. I have observed multiple crossings at 8th Avenue by individuals leaving the municipal parking lot heading west to the opposite sidewalk. In some cases, they have had close encounters with oncoming traffic. A proposed new crosswalk crossing 8th Avenue at 7th Street would allow patron parking for businesses located on the west side of 8th Avenue. One business may be expanding, and this would provide safe access for customers as well as others along the west side of 8th Avenue. Lastly, there are several fire lane signs in front of City Hall that are redundant as they use the same verbiage. They're also very close together and leaning in various directions. In addition, the curbing in the area is already painted red, indicating no parking. Recommendation, configure as follows. 22 full-time employees work at City Hall, not accounting for those coming from other city facilities to conduct business. Main west lot, there are 31 spaces in the main lot on the west side of City Hall bordering 8th Avenue. 24 would be for employees with 1 handicap, no time limit. 7 for general public, no time limit. All spaces would be open for general public parking between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Monday through Thursday. All spaces would be available for general public parking all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The city reserves the right to change availability for any reason, including special events. Patrons area, front of City Hall facing north, 1 hour parking. 7 spaces in front on the east side with 1 handicap, 3 spaces on the west side. Patron spaces would be open for general public parking between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Monday through Thursday. Patron spaces would be available for general public parking all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The city reserves the right to change availability for any reason, including special events. South side utility lot, staff only, area not available for general public parking. And I would like to kind of provide you with a little bit of a screen share so you can get a visual on what we are talking about. Oh, did somebody, you already have it up? All right, so we don't need to share it. So there you see what I was discussing. So the light green area in the front would be for patrons only, and also if, in some cases, if employees visit to do business at City Hall. The blue areas on the west side would be for employee parking. There are already signs present along the western edge of that parking lot on the west side, or on the eastern edge, I'm sorry, and it's also, it says reserved for City Hall employees. Of course, because they're faded and sit halfway down the fence, as soon as you park a car in front of them, you can't see them. And also to facilitate pedestrians crossing 8th Avenue, we designated public parking in the red area, kind of on the southwestern corner, and we would be putting a crosswalk in going across 8th Avenue along 7th Street. This would provide easy access from the east side of 8th Avenue to the west side and a much safer way getting across the street. And also, the business on the corner is considering expansion. They were requesting some additional angle-in parking on the west side of 8th Avenue, but the road isn't wide enough on that side. We already have angle-in parking on the east side. So once again, that crosswalk crossing 8th Avenue would provide easy access for anybody wanting to, if they do expand and there are more patrons there, they'll have an easy way to get across 8th Avenue. So I think, and then of course the Aqua area is the area directly to the south of City Hall where our AMI techs and some of our IT folks, as well as the clerk vehicles, are parked. So that's gated and would be for city activities only. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
John, as part of this, you'd also repaint the sidewalk crossing 8th Avenue on at Main Street. The one that has,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's faded, not faded, but kind of covered by,
Well, the Fox
can't
seal
see it
covered it
anymore.
up, yes.
Right.
And so it's actually, I guess it's a sticker essentially. So we would be redoing that. Now, there's already still signage there, but yes, we would be redoing that as well.
John, is there a no parking sign in front of the gates where we go in for the city vehicles? I've noticed vehicles are parking in front whenever there's an event or whatever, and they're blocking the gate to get into City Hall in the back there where the city vehicles are parked.
I don't know if there's a no parking sign on the gate
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, the chain link. There's a sign on there.
There?
Yeah, because I saw
Yeah.
some people parked there the last time. I was all like, okay, they're blocking the gate. So
And again, during special events and things of that nature or after hours, you could open up the parking more, right? So it wouldn't be as much of an issue. So the idea here is to have a little bit better traffic control and provide some egress for people crossing 8th Avenue, basically, so that a couple times I saw a couple of gentlemen come close to getting tagged by oncoming traffic. Now, whenever, and I become more cognizant of it now, so I'm using the crosswalk in front of the courthouse all the time, and people actually slow down and stop. They know it's there, and they actually, you can cross very easily that way. So again, I think because of the nature of 8th Avenue, and the actual speed limit is 25 miles an hour through there, by the way, which I always do. So, but I think, I don't know that it's that well signed. So again, it's really a traffic control issue, obviously in terms of crossing 8th Avenue, but it's also just like if you had a park and you said, hey, if your dog, does its business, clean up after yourself. So you're simply regulating that public space.
do you think we'll have to put some caution lights there too, John? Right there, if we put that crosswalk right in there.
I talked with the Public Works Director, and we did talk about the fact, especially early on, that we may want to have some kind of signs that are lighted just to get people comfortable and aware that it'll be there.
And what about our discussion with the other crosswalk? I believe we had that, Lance, in reference right here. Crossing to
8th and 8th?
yeah, 8th and 8th. Yeah, they asked me again. That's why, and I thought I would ask.
Yeah, and the reason that we didn't put it there for, in addition to that, is that it's a very busy intersection and it's not, there's not sidewalks on both sides, so it doesn't create the best access point. So even if they use this access point, we may have a couple more crosswalks going north and south across 7th Street, which would then bring them down to the corner and they could go that way as well.
So I come home every day at 5 o'clock during rush hour. Have you guys paid attention to how far the traffic backs up right there? The traffic backs up past the pizza joint right there with people trying to get through the four-way, especially during school. So at 3 o'clock when the middle school lets out, I don't know if you pay attention to that, but it backs up through there. It also backs up at 5 o'clock through there. So is that going to be a pedestrian issue? Because I've seen two cars get rear-ended just trying to turn left at the pizza joint. And so I just want to make sure, are people going to be safe there? Putting a crosswalk where it's already backing up far enough?
Certainly safer than they are now, right?
True.
We have a designated spot, and if we light it, and again, if we needed to, especially early on, or maybe we need to have some officers in the area during that rush hour for a little while just to kind of calm it down. I know I didn't notice the 25-mile-an-hour speed limits in there until I started walking around the area and looking at things. So there are things that we can do to take a look at that and see what the traffic patterns are like. And we could also analyze them at some point if they're busy enough. I don't know if there's a warrant that would be justified, but there are things that we can do to take a look at
And then I have questions on can you kind of point out where you're wanting the handicap spots? Because I did talk to several people and showed them this picture, and they did have some concerns that 2 handicap spots are not enough. Not everyone who has a handicap spot needs the ramp. So if they're parking on the west side, they have to walk all the way over to get over there. So is there any spots in the green on the west side that you planned on doing handicap? Because if what the thing is, I feel if we're going to designate, we're going to say, okay, this is employee parking, you guys park there, then there should be no reason for visiting employees to be parking in the front. We need to leave that open for customers. I mean, I don't know if you've worked anywhere. I worked Chase, I worked at Edward Jones. Employees are never allowed to park in customer areas. So if we're going to do this, I want to make sure that, you know, this is designated. I don't care if you're coming over from HR or wherever and you're coming to visit, you need to park over where we're designating. So if we're gonna, make it designated in this, so I don't know if an issue came up where all of a sudden we need to designate this. I mean, it kind of seems like we're pushing the customers to the back of the lot if those fill up, which I don't know that they ever would, but
Mayor Ortega.
that's like a lot of them.
The back of the lot isn't where the customers are. The front green
The front green, yes.
is where they would go. And there's, I believe, one handicap spot on the east side. There's two. So there's two handicap
On which
spots
side?
on the east side.
On that side, okay.
Yeah.
So there's two there. Are you looking at putting one on the other side?
We were not. We
Because-
could. I imagine there's. Right, but that's going into the side gate, like right where the teal is, just next to that cross hatching between the two blue areas. See that? There's one right there as well, entering the back side.
Mhm.
So two on the east side in front and one here. And isn't there a percentage or is there? Oh,
You
that's,
just brought up the fact that not everyone who has a handicap needs the ramp. So there wasn't anything on the other side. Right. Right. They were just saying they wanted to be able to park handicap, but not have to take up the ones that were by the ramp. So I said I'd ask.
we could do that. We could go beyond.
When I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, who all uses City Hall besides employees? It's the people coming in, paying their utility bill. Who still does that in person? The elderly who don't trust internet and don't want to do things electronically, and generally they're the ones that have the handicap.
I stop by City Hall quite often, city work and meet with John or whatever. And I've, I haven't seen an actual, problem with the people parking or whatever. I really don't recall the east side being filled up. I think sometimes there's city trucks parked there, which, those, you're finding a place for them. I think,
That's part of the issue, right, is I wanted to make the front as accessible as possible to the patrons going in, right? Because that's the first on my list is the patrons, right? I want people to be able to come in and depending on the time of the month, if they're paying their bills, they can get relatively full out there in the front. So the idea is to designate that so they'll have an area to park, and that's why we made it all patron in the front.
So that'll be communicated throughout the employee.
Yeah, we need to get this one out online. In fact, we might even have, we'll have to get it re-signed. It'll have to go through the process, but we'll put some notices out. We can even put an image of the diagram and make sure we get the proper information out. And then provide some latitude as we get comfortable with the new parking arrangement, let people know, hey, this is not the place to park if you're not coming in to do business at City Hall, et cetera. So again, hopefully we'll have some latitude there, but it'll take maybe a little time to get used to it.
and the thing too, is make sure we advertise it enough to let the people know about the new crosswalk coming, that type thing. We have to educate them because we're creatures of habit and we have to really be aware of it.
Mayor, I make the motion that we approve resolution R 24 sorry.
I thought I read that right there you have two handicaps.
Yes.
And I thought I read you wanted to do away with one.
No, I didn't know there were two. I put one. So it would be two. So if we wanted to amend the document, the resolution does not contain a designation of spaces, but I did put in the patron area. There's one handicap. There's actually two.
Okay, and they're gonna stay
Yes,
because the ramp is there.
yes, sir.
And this is gonna stay one.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know of any business that normally makes their patrons park furthest away. And that's where you're saying the public needs to park, the red.
That's for people not doing business at City Hall. So in other words, we're providing additional parking for the area in addition to the front providing parking for patrons coming to City Hall.
It says public parking,
Yes.
but, so you're hoping they always use the front and you're hoping they understand your wording.
Well, I think we're going to have patron parking signs in the front and public parking signs on the side. So the verbiage will be different. And again, we're trying to provide a courtesy really because those who are using the lot for general parking are coming from the west side of 8th Avenue. Nobody's coming from the east side generally, right? And so this provides the parking in the perfect location to use the crosswalk to safely get across 8th Avenue. That's general public parking and will be signed accordingly. Parking in the front is patron parking for those who are literally using City Hall. And if you look across the street at the courthouse, they have 2-hour parking and it says courthouse business. So we could try to change the verbiage and make sure we get it so it's clear. But the red area will be for general public parking and the green area is for those literally coming to City Hall to do business at City Hall.
Okay, so we are keeping both them handicappers.
Yes, we
Okay.
are.
Just for clarification, the 3 spaces on the west side of City Hall, the green spaces there, those are gonna be signed not to be used by employees
Correct. We
coming
would-
from other buildings?
That's the impression I'm getting right now is that's what's desired and that's what we started with. So we have it as just for the patrons, not for the employees.
That's the biggest use I see of it. I mean, of those three spaces, it seems like they've always got a utility truck parked in there or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's maintenance on the building, but it's almost always got one. It did this morning.
So do you want us to provide some flexibility in the use of those spaces? I I mean, we can do that.
No,
It's not written in stone.
I think employees can find somewhere else to park. In fact, if it was up to me, I'd green space your space and the other two between it and the palm tree. I'd take those three and make them green too.
For the record, I don't have a space.
Well, the one you always park in.
The reason I
Or
park
being
there
on-
is because I get there at 6 a.m.
Early
and no one's
bird.
there.
You need the exercise.
Early bird gets to work.
Park a little
And
further
If you,
away to
and
walk.
if you would like, I can park somewhere else. My predecessor parked in the utility lot in the back. I'd be more than happy to park back there and remove myself from the
I
equation.
like where you park. I know you're there.
Tracking me that way. So anyway, again, this to me is a more logical pattern based on the usage.
Mhm.
It's flexible. It's not written in stone. So again, if there's any adjustments you want to make, we can make.
And I like that, and the three on the, on the west side of the building is for the public. Good, I think that's
And then we'll work on the language to make sure that we differentiate correctly.
good. Let's start educating the public, especially about the crosswalks, and to me, that's very important.
Can I continue on with my motion now? Yeah. I'd like to make the motion that we approve resolution R 24-027, re-signing City Hall parking lot.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution R 24-027, re-signing City Hall parking lot. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
This concludes the approval of resolution number R 24-027, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Safford, Arizona, approving the reconfiguration of the city hall parking lot. The facility is located at 717 West Main Street, Safford, Arizona.
We'll go on to item number 2, resolution R 24-028, designation of the chief fiscal officer for fiscal year 2025.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a housekeeping item that we have to do every year as regards to our annual expenditure limitation report. You have to designate a CFO that is responsible for that report to make sure that it's accurate to the state. That is due by the July 31st, so this meeting happens just in time to get this in. We'll finally be on time in the last few years. The city of Safford will get its chief designation in on time, and we will have that. I am asking that you appoint me as your chief CFO, and I will take care of that report for you come the end of this calendar year. I turn the time back over to you.
I make the motion we approve resolution R 24-028, designation of the chief fiscal officer for fiscal year 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution R 24-028, the designation of the chief fiscal officer for fiscal year 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
This includes the approval of resolution number R 24-028, a resolution of the city of Safford, Arizona, mayor and common council designating the chief fiscal officer for officially submitting the fiscal year 2025 expenditure limitation report to the Arizona Auditor General.
And we'll move on to item number 3, resolution R 24-029, One Arizona Distribution of opioid settlement funds agreement.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Staff is requesting City Council approve Resolution R 24-029, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Arizona Attorney General and defendant Kroger Company relating to the One Arizona Distribution of Opioid Settlement Funds Agreement, also known as the One Arizona Plan. This is the latest in a series of settlement agreements associated with the class action lawsuit related to the ongoing opioid litigation. Again, the background, I won't read the entire thing. The background is an ongoing class action lawsuit where the more communities that sign on to the state class action lawsuit, the more money that we get. We've done several of these already, so at this point, it's becoming more of an administrative function. The latest one is with against Kroger. And so to date, we've received about $55,000 worth of opioid funds. Police predominantly are the ones that are using them. They've used them for public outreach. They've used them for some of the Citizens Police Academy activities. We're also in the process of getting some Narcan and also some AEDs because A large number of our buildings don't have any AEDs, so we're going to use some money for that purpose. So again, this is simply one in a series of these agreements. There likely will be more in which we sign the agreement saying that if we sign on for this agreement, we're agreeing to not take any action against the company in the future.
And we still have, the police haven't spent all of it, have they?
No, although these AEDs are going to cost us a few bucks, but no, we still have a good, I think we got around 55,000, so there's still about 30, I think, somewhere in the ballpark in that neighborhood available.
Because I thought you and I had talked about trying to get it, to make it, use some of the monies for student awareness and different things.
Mayor Ortega, Vice Mayor Lopez, that's exactly what they've been doing. In fact, the police are attending a lot of the events now. They have a new canopy essentially with their symbol. They have materials they hand out. We also use some money for the materials for the Youth Police Academy as well.
Good.
Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution R 24-029, One Arizona distribution of opioid settlement funds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution R 24-029. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
This concludes approval of resolution number R 24-029, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Safford, Arizona, approving and adopting One Arizona distribution of opioid settlement funds, agreement, release, and participation forms for the new National Opioids Settlement Agreement.
And item number 13, ordinances. Okay, number 1, ordinance 024-007, Goodman Rezone. Jamie?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff is requesting a first reading of ordinance 24-007, an ordinance of the City of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, rezoning Graham County Assessors Parcel 101-09050A from the R2 Multiple Family Residential District to the CMH Conventional Manufactured Home District. And I just noticed while I was looking at my file that there is a typographical error in the second whereas on the ordinance, and I will have that corrected for the second read. That I will stand for questions.
Go ahead.
Jamie, you probably said, but what was the recommendation of the?
To pass. Yes, it was a unanimous do pass.
And so you're saying in this ordinance that was a typo
Yes, sir.
and that you're going to have to fix it?
Yes, sir. For the second read, Mayor Ortega and Councilman Lopez, as we were discussing earlier, today is the time for discussion with this first read, and then you actually pass it on August 12th. So I will have that typographical error changed. It will read the same from R2 Multiple Family Residential District to CMH Conventional Manufactured Home District.
Okay, because I had seen that too, and I was going to point it out to you.
Yes,
And
sir.
it was going to be my example that things can happen.
Yes, sir.
And when we make recommendations to change or amend things, this is a second reading, we'll catch it. But other things that don't happen that way, and when we make recommendations of changing stuff, it doesn't always come back to us. And this is kind of an example that could have happened that way too.
This is just a thought. Why don't, when we have the second reading, you remind us that the correction was made,
Yes, exactly, Mayor.
and that way,
Also, Mayor, you could pass it right now with the correction being requested now as part of the second read. So you pass it not as written, but recommending the amendment, whatever change you want to make, and then that will be part of the official record, and then we would come back with that amendment.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, sir, of course. Make it better. So we make the recommendation now?
Yeah, I would make a recommendation, make your motion to adopt the first read of the Goodman rezone with the amendment that you desire be brought back as part of the second reading. So I don't know exactly what that is.
Yeah,
Mayor Ortega, Vice Mayor Lopez. Yeah, so just like John stated, we can say we're voting on to complete the first reading of this ordinance, and the changes will be as Ms. Embick noted. And then at the next meeting, she will have the changes made, and she can address them at that point to make sure that they are changed on her ordinance.
sounds good.
Can we discuss what that, because I'm unaware of whatever this typo is. Can we specifically address it? So again, it's on the record. I don't know what it is.
Well, we put it, oh, go ahead, Dame, you're doing the presentation.
Yes, sir, Mayor and Council. The second whereas on the ordinance states, public hearing was held on June 17th, 2024, and the Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended parcel 1010950A this is where the error happens, be rezoned from the conventional manufactured home district to the C2 highway commercial district. That part of the sentence is incorrect. It will read, be rezoned from the R2 multiple family residential district to the CMH conventional manufactured home district.
So I would recommend that you pass the ordinance with the change as enumerated by the Community Development Director. Or you can repeat it.
We're looking at you.
That's a good one. Okay.
Well, I didn't even know it was there. So
Yeah.
again, this would be one where if we brought it back and we didn't fix it, I wouldn't have known what we didn't fix. So again, this helps me because now I know exactly what needs to change. So when I review the agendas in our staff meetings, we'll make sure we make the right adjustment.
Well, then could I make the motion to move forward the first reading of 024-007 with the amendment and whereas to be changed to the commercial manufactured,
Conventional manufactured home.
conventional manufactured.
To the,
From the R2 multiple family residential district to the CMH conventional manufactured home district.
What she said, V.
Second.
When I read in the ordinance, first read, I'll also state the change that'll be made.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 024-007 that will be coming back to us in its amended form.
Mayor Ortega is just to finalize the first reading of the ordinance.
stated amendment.
The stated amendment. All those in favor?
Oh, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, let me give it my best shot here. This completes the first reading of ordinance number O24-007, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, effectuating a map amendment rezoning Graham County Assessor's parcel number 101-09-050A from City of Safford R2 Multiple Family Residential District to CMH Conventional Manufactured Home District. Ms. Embick will be making an amendment to the second whereas paragraph in the ordinance at the next meeting, stating for it to be rezoned. There was an error from the CMH Conventional Manufactured Home District to the C2 Highway Commercial District. She will amend that to state it'll be rezoned from R2 Multiple Family Residential District to CMH Conventional Manufactured Home District.
Good.
Then we'll move on to
Sample for a while. That-
We'll move on to item number 14, contracts and agreements and bids. Number 1, gas purchase contract.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, this request is for the Mayor and City Council to approve the appointment of Twin Eagle Resource Management to serve as our exclusive agent to manage and administer the gas supply contracts and transportation agreements. The city will also enter a 35-month contract with Twin Eagle to purchase natural gas for distribution by the City Gas Department. This contract will provide accounting, reporting, trading, selling, purchasing, and hedging of natural gas services. For the background, city's been on a 6-year contract with BPEC for the supply and management of our current natural gas purchases. This historic contract was composed to have the first 2 years at a 75% fixed price and a 25% open market price. The next 2 years were comprised of 50% fixed market and a 50% open market pricing. The final 2 years consisted of 25% fixed pricing and 75% open market pricing. So our new contract will have a structure that includes similar to our past contract, hedging, purchasing, selling, trading, and reporting, all which will be done by Twin Eagle, with 25% of our volume at fixed pricing and 75% volume floating at the index for our first 11 months. The second and third years of the contract will be at 50% of our volume at fixed pricing and 50% of volume floating at index. Unlike the previous contracts, decisions will be made and forecasted for the next day and monthly as needed to optimize the city's needs. Transaction requests will be issued for the city's approval prior to execution. On July 3rd, a competitive pricing request with non-disclosure agreements with all potential gas suppliers was sent out. On July 9th, bids from our current provider, BP Energy Company, Arizona Electric Power Cooperative, and Twin Eagles Resources were received. After internal review, both within the gas department, our city manager, and finance, it was determined that Twin Eagle was our lowest bid. The new proposed contract would appoint Twin Eagles as our resource management to serve as our exclusive agents to manage and administrate the gas supply contract and the transportation agreement, along with a 35-month purchase agreement that will consist of the first 11 months at our 25% fixed price and 75% open market pricings, the second and third years as previously discussed. The advantage of this current proposed structure will make budgeting for the commodity more dependable, as the market is currently much more volatile than it had been in historic markets. Tonight, I bring a recommendation that Mayor and City Council approve the appointment of Twin Eagles as our resource management to serve as our exclusive agent to manage and administer the gas supply contracts and transportation agreements, and to enter into a contract with Twin Eagles to purchase natural gas for distribution for the City of Safford Gas Department. This contract shall remain in effect for 35 months, beginning August 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. And I'll stand for any questions at this time.
You know you're gonna get it.
Definitely, we're ready.
So I'm looking through this, and of course I don't understand this, but I want to. So on the base contract for sale and purchase, when I'm looking through it, it says transaction procedure is oral. What is that?
So
Lots
this,
of things can get lost in translation.
so on a daily basis, we're gonna purchase the open market. That pricing will be on a daily basis. So that percentage will be based off whatever open market price is for that day,
Mhm.
and for us to move forward with that.
So orally is just them calling you and telling you what that price is.
This is what that pricing is.
Oh, hey, we've done business with BP for a long time,
Yeah.
and they didn't get the bid this time. Do you know this much about Twin Eagles?
So Twin Eagles, I can put a presentation up in the future if we'd like. They're nationwide, or they're an international company that provides natural gas all over the world. And they reached out to us when this was put out on the market and said some of the people that used to work for BP worked for them and said that they'd be interested in providing these same services for us.
I just wondering because, I mean, not that I'm in that world, but I hadn't heard of them, and I was hoping, which I trust you did your research. I do trust that, Mr. Primo. And after you said management LCC was received after internal review and comparison was determined. Was this with Twin Eagles or with us?
So we did an internal review of it.
Who helped you, sir?
So finance was involved with it. We had discussions with our city manager prior to our bid being sit down, and then review with my gas division manager.
So you guys all bumped heads. Good. And you say, so what's the cost of the management part of it? Is that an added cost to us? Because I mean, we got to wheel the gas here through certain stuff and all that. But
So when we went through this process, we went ahead and we made sure that all of this was an apples to apples comparison. And so we put what the open market would have been what the open market pricing was over the last 3 years, and moved that into a forward-looking scenario if it was the exact same usage for the city of Safford, whose pricing would come out the cheapest for us at the end of those 3 years. And that's where the Twin Eagles numbers.
yeah, that's why you've placed some in hedge and you've changed your percentages, which of course I hope in the near future the LP gas gets recognized again and it becomes cheaper. But we're not necessarily locked in that tight.
So just looking at our market today, and then the market research that we've done internally, and dealing with some of the gas hedging that goes on for our electric world, we get a lot of information around the natural gas pricing as far as marketing. This year's forecast for the marketing is forecasted to stay at a relatively inexpensive pricing for open market, and so that's the structure that we went with, being 75% on that open market and then 25% hedge.
Yeah,
It's forecasted to have a much more volatile movement over the 2 years following that because of some federal regulations around worldwide distribution and rules nationally that will impact that pricing. And so they don't want to drop those prices because they don't know what that looks like for that forward forecast. And so we've tried to shorten the contract. This contract will only be for 3 years and kind of get us through that volatile market where we're set up at a percentage where we have the ability to take advantage of lower pricing, but also have enough structure in our fixed pricing that it protects our customers as we move forward.
yeah, and you went 50-50, which we're trying to protect ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You had some of the same concerns that I talked about. Twin Eagles. Okay, then.
Mayor, I move that we approve the gas purchase contract with Twin Eagle.
We have a motion and a second to approve the gas purchase contract with Twin Eagles Resource Business. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 15, the report on operational items. Give me the special event.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to present our 2023-2024 Special Events Operational Update. First of all, thank you to Mick Ruiz for his first year. He has strengthened our processes, streamlined them, added events, and created all our flyers in-house. I'd also like to thank all of the other City of Safford staff who work holidays and weekends to make these events happen. Our special event strategic goals are threefold. Quality of life. Special events create activities for little to no cost for our residents and visitors. Number 2, financial management. Allocated funds are used in partnership with local nonprofits to maximize effectiveness. And number 3, growth and development. Special events give small businesses the opportunity to showcase their products with little overhead. This is a snapshot of our financials from the previous year. You'll notice the 3 highlighted yellow events were new this year. The City of Safford spent $20,067.43 in actual funds. Donations for the airfare and October Harvest Fest made the total spent $19,455.31. The majority of the cost annually is in-kind labor and overtime. Mick has updated our process for gathering this data, so this year the figures are accurate. Our line item in the Planning and Community Development Department budget for last fiscal year was $14,950. We spent $11,918. Some of this was Downtown Association funding. Troy and Matthew have streamlined the budgeting process, and next year's financials will be greatly simplified. For example, this year, any money donated to the Downtown Association will be separated into the 501c3 donation category. And this does also not include labor from other departments that's budgeted in their overtime budget. By partnering with local organizations, we remained within our budget while increasing opportunities. City of Safford special events include partners such as the Graham County Chamber of Commerce, Graham County Search and Rescue, Safford Downtown Association, Safford Lions Club, United Way, Freeport McMoran, Briscoe's Tattoo Shop, R&R Sound, and many other businesses who provide activities during events. This year we had new events. 3 new ones were the Airfare, the Spotlight Series, and Cruise in Maine. The Key to the City Award was planned and occurred in July 2024. That was supposed to be in May of 2024, but according to Mr. Gaethje's schedule, he couldn't make it here until this fiscal year. Looking forward, Mick has made sure that we have after action reviews of each event to make sure we can make them better every year. We're always looking at opportunities for new events. Funding sources have been streamlined so that expenditures are easier to track. The 501c donation program will also help track expenditures as we partner with the Downtown Association on Mary Main Street and the Light Parade. Event attendance will be available this year with new software purchased by the Chamber of Commerce. Veterans Day will this year, for the first year, be a City of Safford event and incorporate a full air show, not just an air fair. 4th of July celebration that you noticed was bigger this year at the City Hall lawn has been added to and will be continued next year, and funding has been included for extra assistance for setup and takedown. Thank you, council and staff and volunteers, for making all of this possible. Are there any questions?
I enjoy all of them, Jamie. I
Me too.
enjoy them all.
It's exciting too to see the Veterans Day have this be put on by the city this year. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Thank you.
You know what? And that Veterans Day, it is something that we have to, I hope we can include, not even the reservation all around. The reservation, they have the majority of them are veterans. We have to do something really special for those people. They are.
Yes, sir, Mayor Ortega, we can make sure that we advertise and reach out to them, and we'll also make sure that any veteran may attend the air show for free.
Clifton Morency, same.
Yes, sir.
That's great.
I'll make a note of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Anybody else? That was it? Okay, then we'll move on to an update on the traffic complaint.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sorry, I'm not Chief Avila. He had some other commitments tonight, couldn't be here. But I'm grateful for the opportunity I have to address the complaint that was brought to you. And I'm also grateful for some of the discussion that we've heard tonight about some of the traffic concerns. Obviously, you're all aware we're growing a little bit. And we're feeling that in multiple areas throughout town. I want you to know that our goal and our focus is to address this as best we can. Our calls for service are up. So as we have officers available, our focus is shifting a lot to traffic enforcement. We receive a lot of traffic complaints about how people drive, parking complaints and things of that nature. So I want you to know it does not go unnoticed. And I know there's frustration expressed like, where's a cop? And I can tell you when I'm not at work, I have those same moments. But just understand that it is an area of focus for us. And this is something that we're working on. So to get to this specific issue, we have a great working relationship with Safford Unified School District, and I just want to point that out, how grateful I am for them. This is Principal Vaughn from Ruth Powell Elementary School joining me here tonight. Chief Avila has been working with her in order to address the concerns on the area of 10th Street. You heard earlier tonight that signs were pulled out on the south side of 10th Street along the edge of Ruth Powell School property. That is correct. So the statute in regards to these school signs actually reads the street adjacent to the school, which would indicate the northern side of 10th Street right there. On the diagram you'll see I have blocked out in red on the north side of 10th Street from 14th Avenue to 12th Avenue. And these signs that the gentleman was talking about are still posted there. The reason for these signs being on that side and not on the side for the school, our goal there, our number one goal in everything we do traffic related is number one, safety, especially in the area of school zones. We want to focus on keeping our kids safe. The second part is to keep traffic flowing through an area. So basically our goal is we do not want kids crossing 10th Street right here to go get picked up on the other side. So that in essence is why those signs are staying up on that side of the street. However, you'll see in blue and with cones on the south side of the street along the curb, a drop-off and pickup area for the preschool. They utilize the gate on the north side of the school, the northeast corner right there, and that goes directly into this preschool classroom. Basically, this preschool services the majority, I believe, of the students have some kind of special need to where we want a direct handoff from parent to teacher. That's the reason this gate's been utilized. That's the reason it hasn't been used in the parking lot. I don't know if any of you have been in the area of the parking lot during pickup and drop off. This area is congested, along with all of our other schools during these pickup and drop off times. They're highly congested areas. We have a lot of people trying to move through in a little amount of time. And it's hectic and it's chaotic. And these are some of our more sensitive students that, again, safety is our number one concern. So being able to have that direct access to this preschool, which is right there inside of that gate, we feel working together will be the safest option for these kids. So with that, Ms. Vaughn is going to work with her staff to have this area coned off. She has put a communication out with parents, letting them know what the traffic pattern will be. We will also be sharing this diagram as well as a statement on our social media and through other avenues, trying to let people know what the plan is. Now, are we going to have some issues? Absolutely. Our goal is to be present when we can in these school zones to help facilitate people following this. People obviously are going to do what they're going to do, and you've all seen it every day. Not everybody follows the traffic laws. We are trying to focus, especially at these critical times, at having officers in school zones. We have multiple school zones. We're not going to have one in every school zone at every time, but we are going to do the best we can. And this is something new. So obviously it's going to receive some attention. Our goal is to have somebody there to help facilitate this and ensure that we get it right. And again, I just want to say how great it's been to work with the school and how helpful they have been in this process with us and explaining the need for this. Because obviously, like I said, there is some opposition to it, but understanding the safety aspect of it, the students that are utilizing it, and the importance for them to have that close direct access to their classroom, I think at the end of the day shows the need for it to go this way. And obviously there will be concerns, there will be things that we may need to look at and address further, and that's part of the partnership that we have is to reevaluate, is what we're doing working? If it is, let's keep going with it. If it's not, we can come up with some solutions. That'll take any questions.
That up. That says a lot. A lot easier to explain, to understand why that gate is used.
Right.
You know,
I would like to add, I did explore every other possible option I have to enter and exit my preschool children. This is without a doubt the only safe option. The others all propose a safety hazard that I am not willing to.
when you say
Preschool was moved to my school because largely of this setup. This is classroom and not exit.
when you say handicap, are some in like wheelchairs or no?
Correct. We
do have some that move through. My two that were in wheelchairs this year are moving on to kindergarten, so their transportation is changing. But at any given time, I could get more of students in wheelchairs, and they are very such very high need for some of them.
Now, would this be shared with the neighborhood to let them know the reason?
Mayor Ortega, our plan is to disperse it through our social media. Actually, I don't know, we can actually make it a priority. The gentleman that was here, we had not reached back out to him. I was kind of hoping he would stay and we could discuss it, but that can be something, if you'd like, we can reach out and try to communicate to,
You know, he would be a good one to communicate with because he has, talked to us 2 or 3 times on this issue, and I think if he, and I know him, he used to work for years and years ago. I think if it's explained to him, he may not agree 100%, but he'll see the reasoning for it.
And Mayor, I understand the concern also. Like I said, this is a congested area, as are all of our school zones during drop-off and pickup times. And there is some frustration from residents in the area. And like I said, there is some area where we can do some improvement on enforcement. I think there's a little frustration that a citation's not always written, but I will tell you that's not always our end goal. Our end goal is to address the issue, and if a citation is not necessary, then I don't think a lot of people want to do that.
Captain Clef, I believe that would be a good idea to reach out to the residents that are locally in that area. So at least they could have a feeling on what's going on and they can understand. And if anybody parks in front of their residence or whatever, they can try to help out with the issue and say, look, I have a piece of paper here stating this, blah, X, Y, and Z. And I think that'll help out too. So hopefully that comes into play.
I don't know how much discussion we're supposed to be having, or how set in stone this is, but my memory says that back when the school first opened, which I can't tell you how long ago that was, this was a problem then. And as I remember it, the problem was people coming westbound in what you've got as a red zone. They didn't stop. They got over toward the curb, went very slow until they saw a place they could slide in. And so I'd like to suggest that we also sign it no U-turns so that can't happen. Because if they don't actually stop, then they didn't park. They're not in violation. But if they whip in, I mean, I can see a train wreck coming there. And that is a previous problem. I think it'll go away unless we find a way to address it.
Just so I understand, to take back to the chief, basically your goal is to have signage for westbound traffic not to be able to make U-turns in the area.
Correct. The entire part, you've got red zone, those 2 blocks.
14th Avenue to 12th Avenue.
I think they shouldn't be able to park there or turn from there to head eastbound.
Okay.
During school hours.
I agree with that.
We have instructed our preschool parents, again, because of the sensitivity to the children and their age of being 3 and 4, the working relationship between the 2 classroom teachers and the parents is very one-on-one and personal contact. So they meet with these parents regularly, and when we register them, we have an actual face-to-face conversation with them, and we have directed them that they need to come down in front of the high school and turn right to access that area. And then it won't hold up any traffic either trying to go because they'll kind of come into their own lane with the cone in between the cone and the sidewalk, and traffic will still be able to continue on.
If I remember correctly, that gate wasn't used for that purpose last time, and it was a free-for-all in there, and maybe it will go away with those conversations, but if we could cut it off before it ever happens, I think the price of 6 or 8 signs would be worth it.
Is normal pickup drop-off for the non-preschool students different from this? It's in the front. Okay.
Good. Anybody else?
Well, I just wanted to say that we did want to bring this back to address the issue, and also wanted to emphasize and thank Ms. Vaughn for showing up, because by using both the police department expertise and the operational requirements of the school district, I think we come up with a better answer, and I think we got some more feedback tonight. So again, we're working with them to try to solve this issue. So it's a tough issue. You never know what people are gonna do when they're driving or what they're thinking. And so we're trying to make the best of a difficult situation, but we are working on it. So I wanted everybody to know that, which is why we brought it back. And I wanted you to realize, which is why I asked the school have someone come and talk as well, that we're actually working with them to try to understand what their needs are, and then the police can provide their expertise in terms of traffic control, to try to come up with the best solution.
If I understood you right, you will be visiting with the neighbor, that kind of give them an update of what is happening.
Correct.
Good. Okay, gee, thanks a lot. I hope we helped you too. Okay, then we'll go to number 16, close the regular council meeting and reconvene into executive session meeting.
Mayor, I make the motion, we go into executive session and take a 5-minute break.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Done. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next, announcement of current events. Anybody?
And Mayor, I got one announcement I'm going to briefly cover, and I'm going to pass out some information here. Some of you may have driven up Highway 191 today and noticed that Discovery Park Boulevard, ADOT started working on some handicap ramps. That project has begun to update 191 from the intersection all the way out to Old Country Club Road. It's out there just past Joe's Ride and Dine. It's going to be a mill and overlay project, new curb gutter, ramps at the intersection, some driveway updates. So I've got a little update here that ADOT sent out to us, and I'm just going to hand it to all of you so you get a little information. But it's supposed to go on from just starting this month. It's supposed to be in the fall is all I've got. There'll be lane closures, but there'll be one lane open in each direction at all times while they're working. So there will be some, so it's a much needed project that we've been waiting on for a long time. Hopefully they're not too long jumping on 70 and doing it too. So I'll pass these out, and if you got any questions, I hope I can answer them.
And we'll keep you posted as we go forward. So I wanted you guys just to be aware, this is the information we got up to this point. So we put it out on Facebook and the website. So we're reaching out to the public to let them know as well. And so as we get updates and more specifics, we'll continue to put that out to the public, and we'll continue to update you. This hopefully at least will allow you to answer some questions if you get them about that project, because I know Councilman Andazola, you had some questions. So this will help, and again, we'll continue to bring you updates as we get them.
Any questions on that is all, or? Okay, thank you.
Move on to
And then Mayor, just to let you know, we hired a new assistant city manager. He started today, as you might be aware. So anyway, just welcome Mr. Bejarano. I'm very excited to have him, as I think most of you are as well, all of you are as well. So thank you for your assistance with that.
glad to have you. Okay, then the next one is request for future agenda items.
I just wanted to, while we're redoing the parking lot out here and stuff, can we touch up the front of the swimming pool too? Because some of the employees, the lifeguards, are parking in front, and they got no business parking in front. And it needs to be marked there, and it says 10-minute parking. That's for pickup. I've seen little kids running across the street. They ain't got their shoes. They're burning their feet when we got employees parking right in front, all the way from management to the lifeguards. So, like that addressed if possibly could, sir.
Sir, we'll take a look at it.
And then maybe next time we can find out this trailer we're taking around to have things picked up. And then I think we ourselves have contracted to have a house dismantled or something like that. And I thought I heard it was pretty expensive. I don't know what that cost was. Maybe you'll know when that comes.
Zembeck can address that. I'm assuming we're leaning a property or.
Yes, sir. Mayor Ortega, Vice Mayor Lopez, of the $50,000 that you budgeted in the previous fiscal year was for cleaning and leaning properties and abatement. We had 3 properties that got to that phase of the process. One of them cleaned it up once they got the notice. 2 of them we did go out to bid and clean up. And I can have Andrew give you an operational update just to give you those reports. I believe one was a couple $1,000s and one was $11,000.
Yeah, that's the one I thought I heard of, 11,000.
Yes, sir. And the bid that we had gotten to do it internally was quite a bit more. So that was by far the best bid that we received. And a lien will be placed on those properties. The time is about up of their 30-day appeal period. We have not heard from them, so a lien for that amount will be filed on the property. So when the property is sold, the city of Safford receives that money back.
Okay, one more thing. They didn't clean up as well as the neighbors had hoped they would. There was still debris around and stuff, so I don't know if that's so. I didn't drive over there to see it.
We can come back with an operational update with photos and the invoice and show you what was done. I know some vehicles were removed and a lot of debris.
And then hopefully, and one resident said that big rigs have been going through the neighborhood. I don't know if that's true or not, Captain, but they said big rigs have been going through town. So maybe with 191 doing what they're doing, that might happen again with them trying to sneak through. That's all I have, Mayor.
Anybody else?
I do. I just wanted to follow up. I hadn't heard anything back on the pool flotation devices to answer to the citizen. We were gonna check on that.
Mayor Ortega, Councilwoman Brantner, I believe those have been ordered.
Okay, okay. And then, the only other thing I had left was the street by Home Depot where we were working with ADOT. You guys were looking into that when I first came on.
Yeah, we've had no movement on
No
that
movement?
application at this point.
Make the motion, we adjourn.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
We want a roll call vote.